If all those allegations that are so serious are true, how are you making it into comedy? Hi, and welcome to Blossom Talk. I'm Kjersti Flaa, and here on my channel, you know what I'm talking about here. I'm an entertainment reporter, and I talk a lot about Baldoni and Blake Lively and all the drama. And the reason for that is because I'm dragged into it. I'm in all the subpoenas, apparently, and yeah, because of my viral video with Blake Lively. Anyway, so that's if you're new here to my channel. So, and if you're not, thanks for subscribing and thanks for hitting the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Blossom Talk ever. Okay, so last night, US time, Ryan Reynolds was appearing on the Conan O'Brien show called Team Coco. He announced it a while back, so we could see it was premiering last night. And I think people were anticipating at least that there would be one question talking about what's been going on the last year. But that did not happen. There were no conversations about what everyone wants to know about right now, which is what Ryan Reynolds thinks about this whole mess and how he's planning to get out of it. That's what I want to know. And I want to know if Ryan Reynolds regrets doing this, because I'm sure that him and Blake decided to do this together. It's not something she did without his consent. So in this 1 hour long interview show, whatever, Ryan was trying to be funny the whole time, which is his thing, I guess. It's very hard for him to be serious. He can be serious in 1 second and then he has to make a joke about it. He was talking a lot about his dad here, and then he made a joke about that he died of something, and that was funny. You know, it's really weird to watch this kind of behavior. And the thing is, I've interviewed a lot of celebrities that are comedians as well, and most of them are not trying to be funny all the time like this. And I wouldn't call Ryan Reynolds a comedian. I would call him an actor, whatever. But if any of you saw my interview with Zach Galifianakis, for example, he's very serious in interviews. Also, he slammed Hollywood in my interview. If you haven't watched that, I will link it below because he is amazing. I really love him. And he's super cool. And he's very serious. And like I said, Ryan Reynolds can never be serious. I think the only thing that was kind of interesting in this conversation was that Ryan Reynolds admitted that he bullied someone. They were talking about how Conan O'Brien was saying he was receiving the Mark Twain Award not too long ago, and he said on stage that he never punches down, which I think is a really good thing. But then Ryan Reynolds admitted that he kind of did that, but only once. And he said it was 22 years ago and he deeply regretted it afterwards. And he said that
you just a comedian or the guy with the microphone starts picking on someone and you're just like, they don't have a microphone as well. It's not fair, you know, and it's and it just that left a mark that I'll never ever
you can't
forget.
If you think you
Then he said that he sent the guy a case of champagne to say he was sorry. And then he realized that he had just stopped drinking a year ago. So he'd been sober for a year. So
you mocked him, and then your apology was to send him the substance that he had successfully kicked.
Me. Like I really, and then so that's where I got the lesson to never apologize. Never.
So as he always does, he said he regretted bullying someone and then he made a joke about it. And as we know, Ryan didn't stop bullying people 22 years ago, as we've seen with Nice Pool. If that's not bullying, Justin Baldoni, I don't know what is. He also said in this interview that he's desperate for validation, maybe because his dad never gave that to him. But this whole conversation to me just says that Ryan Reynolds is a very insecure person and he can't be himself. He never can be himself. He just have to be a comedian all the time. Yeah, I don't see the point in this interview. And if you see the comment section, it's still open. You know, there's a lot of comments there asking Conan O'Brien why. And someone sent me this explanation that explained why he had him on, saying that Conan O'Brien was thanking Ari Emanuel in his speech when he accepted the Mark Twain Award. And as we know, Ari Emanuel is also a part of the management company. He used to be the CEO of WMA, which represents Blake and Ryan. And as we know, Ari Emanuel fired Justin Baldoni like 2 hours after Blake Lively filed her complaint. So, of course, he is supporting Ryan Reynolds here. And turns out that Conan O'Brien was represented by WMA. He was never represented by Ari Emanuel directly, but it says here that in 2010, during the Tonight Show conflict between Conan O'Brien and NBC, when Jay Leno reclaimed the show, Ari Emanuel reportedly tried to help negotiate deals behind the scenes, especially involving Conan's move to a new platform, which ultimately became TBS. Yeah. So there we go. As we talked about yesterday with Seth Meyers, why Blake Lively might be on Seth Meyers' show is because of NBC. And of course, because Ryan Reynolds, Mint Mobile is sponsoring Seth Meyers. It's all connected, you guys. There was a story in Us Magazine about this podcast, and it just reminded me of what Ryan Reynolds said in his motion to dismiss the lawsuit that Baldoni filed against him for defamation. And I just wanted to read it up again because I think it's just so outrageous. So Ryan Reynolds basically admitted that he'd been calling Baldoni a predator amongst people or friends. I don't know if he said it in public, but anyways, the statement said here that Mr. Reynolds' wife has accused Mr. Baldoni privately and in multiple complaints of SH and retaliation. And as pointed out by Mr. Reynolds' motion, Mr. Baldoni has also openly spoken about his past of mistreating women and pushing the boundaries of consent. That is so mean to say something like that, because Baldoni was on a podcast, his own podcast, talking about, he was being open and owning his mistakes. And I'm sure Ryan Reynolds at one point in his life tried to kiss a woman and she didn't want to. I think it happens to all men at one point in their life, especially if you're young. And that's what Baldoni was referring to when he was younger. And he didn't say any specific incident, and no women have ever come out against him saying that these things are true. It's just that he was honest and talked about these things. And they're using that against him and saying that he's just pretending to be a feminist. Anyways, and then they said that Ryan Reynolds has a First Amendment right to express his opinions of Mr. Baldoni, which should be comforting to a group of people who have repeatedly called Miss Lively and Mr. Reynolds bullies and other names over the past year. So, yeah, he's not the only one who's called Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively bullies. I'm amongst them. Blake Lively bullied me. There is no doubt about what she was doing in that interview. And as I just said, Ryan Reynolds did to Justin Baldoni with Nice Pool. He bullied him in public and made a character based on his likeness. Also, someone sent me this photo, which is quite interesting. This is based on a Marvel game. It's called Marvel Strike Force. So this game was obviously released during Deadpool Wolverine when it hit theaters. And if you look at this character, does he look like Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool, or does he look like Justin Baldoni? Just saying, as this person who sent this to me, thank you so much, pointed out to me, look at his hair, look at the eyebrows, look at the face, look at everything. That is based on Justin Baldoni. It says here that Marvel Strike Force is developed by Scopely under license from Marvel Entertainment. So Marvel Entertainment is going to have to answer for this as well. And that reminds me of, I don't know if you saw that story a few weeks ago. It was something that was brought up by one of my fellow creators here, Zach Peters. He claims, and it does make sense, and I saw Daily Mail picked up the story, that Blake Lively is also having a dig or swipe at Justin Baldoni in Another Simple Favor. He's speculating that they added this audio after the film's finish edit, because this happened after all of this drama. And you can see Blake Lively is turning her back to the camera when she's saying this. So they could have added that as audio afterward. Anyways, this is what Zach says about it.
I'm gonna have to sue you into oblivion for using my name and likeness.
Now, if you notice, this is said while her back is turned, which tells us this probably wasn't in the original script, and that this was a voiceover add-on, because usually when an actor is this far away from the camera, they have to do voiceovers. So I'm pretty sure Sue You Into Oblivion was something that, I don't know, maybe Paul Feig thought that it was funny, maybe Blake Lively, somebody thought that it would be a cute little dig at Justin Baldoni.
Yeah, who knows? It could have happened. And as I mentioned in one of my previous episodes, I think it was last week, Another Simple Favor co-writer was interviewed in The Hollywood Reporter, and she basically said that Blake Lively took over everything, not in a negative way. She just thought it was great that she had all these suggestions, and she didn't know even where it came from when she watched the movie or saw the script, that things were changed. So this could have happened for sure. And it's typical their sense of humor, so I would not be surprised. And as you remember, that line, of course, was used by Brian Friedman in one of the first interviews. I think it was on Megyn Kelly. He was saying, I am going to sue them into oblivion. And also because of the use of Justin Baldoni's likeness as Nice Pool, it's a dig at that. So, yeah. Also, Seth Meyers commented on Blake Lively again. This happened on May 7th, a week ago. I missed it. I don't know if you guys saw this. The video that was uploaded to YouTube says that late night writer Mike Scollins breaks down upcoming films. So that was the segment here. He was talking about films, and then he was talking about Another Simple Favor. And he said this to Seth Meyers.
Now, I really like Blake Lively, even if Seth is firmly Team Baldoni.
I am not Team Baldoni. What?
Yeah, so he was joking about being Team Baldoni. What I find interesting about this, of course, we know Seth Meyers is not Team Baldoni, then he wouldn't have Blake Lively on his show, obviously. But what I find interesting about this is that for me, I'm on Team this or Team that. Just reminds me of Twilight. Remember Team Edward or Team Jacob, which were fictional characters. But when you're saying you're on team with the predator or team with the victim here, in real life, why are they making fun of this if they actually believe this situation is real? That's my question here. Why is it funny? If all those allegations that are so serious are true, how are you making it into comedy? Just a question. Also from one other creator here on YouTube that has a lot of great content. Her name is Lauren, and her YouTube channel is Court of Random Opinion. She tweeted this. I didn't notice this, but she tweeted, per the motion to squash Baldoni's subpoena was served to Taylor Swift on April 28th, the day Travis Kelce unfollowed Ryan Reynolds. And as we know, it's a big mess now. Blake Lively and Taylor Swift are not friends anymore. I mean, they can't be friends after this. It's just impossible because now Blake Lively has put Taylor Swift in a terrible position where she has come out and said that she had nothing to do with the movie. And now she either had to admit that she had a lot to do with the movie, which is what Blake's claiming, or she had to say that Blake is lying. So, yeah, it's a lose-lose for Taylor Swift, and she's definitely never going to be friends with Blake Lively again. I am 100% sure of that. Also, someone sent me this screenshot from an Instagram post that was apparently taken down after. I don't know more about this, but I thought it was interesting. So the Instagram account is called Me, the Wife, and Wrexham AFC, and they have a podcast, and it said in this post, as most of you will already be aware, we interviewed Ryan Reynolds a few days ago. This was due to be released today. Following conversations with Wrexham AFC, it is with a heavy heart that the decision has been taken to shelve this episode indefinitely. We are devastated to not be able to show you this very specific interview. There will now be no episode this week, but we will return next Monday with episode 149. Thank you, Ryan and Sean. Yeah. I don't know what happened there. Let me know if you know anything. But this is interesting. I was thinking if you said something that like bad, they could have just cut that part out. But he must have said a lot of things that they can't air. Interesting. Also, there was a lot of legal stuff being filed yesterday. I tried to read through some of it and to see if there was anything interesting to report on. And I found this quite interesting. John's work was filing a motion to dismiss against Jennifer Abel. And in this filing, there's a lot of text messages that makes Jennifer Abel look terrible, to be honest with you. She is talking bad about Baldoni, about Blake, even Melissa Nathan, that crisis manager that they hired and that she was conspiring with is what they're saying she did. But she talks bad behind her back as well. And of course, her boss, Stephanie Jones, who she collaborated with this outlet. There's text messages about that too, to write a hit piece on her former boss, Stephanie Jones, that works for Jones Work. Stephanie Jones seemed to be an awful person as well here. So just by saying that, but this does make Jennifer Abel look very good. I mean, if this is not completely taken out of context, she is basically trash talking everyone behind their backs. That's not a good look. And it must feel kind of weird, especially because she talked bad about Baldoni behind his back, that she's represented by Friedman as well, who we know is, Baldoni's lawyer. So I saw she left a heart on Baldoni's post yesterday, when the first post that he had done since 2024 with his family on Mother's Day, and Jennifer Abel left a heart. And I was like, why do you do that? Don't be fake. I just like, if you don't like someone, I'm honest. If I don't like people, I'm really honest about it, but I'm not being fake and trying to pretend that I support and like them when I've said really terrible things about them and don't like them. So that's the thing I don't like about Hollywood, all this fakeness. Okay, so there's been a lot of other filings as well, and one of them are about this security company who actually took Jennifer Abel's phone, and Wayfair wants to have access to the communication with that security company because they want to dig deeper into this sham lawsuit. And I want to see that too. I hope the judge allows this, because this is what Blake Lively's team is saying now. They don't want the judge to allow them to get access to this information because it has nothing to do with anything. Well, it does. So let's hope that they get to access this information from Edgeworth Security Services to see what the communication was there and how they were supposed to obtain this phone and all the legal stuff. Anyways, thanks for watching, you guys. I really appreciate your support, as I always say, and please keep sending me tips. I love your engagement. And as I said before as well, you know, I really love this community that we have here. It feels safe, it feels good, it feels positive. So yeah, thank you guys, and I'll see you in my next episode. Bye.